Hi, I'm Joel Gurin, and I'm your instructor for the module on open data. Glad to have a chance to talk to you. So, a little bit about myself. I've been working on open data now for about 10 years. I was previously executive vice president at Consumer Reports magazine, so that got me interested in the uses of data for consumer benefit. As a result of that, I became chief of the Consumer Bureau at the Federal Communications Commission, where we work very much on the use of data, both from the public and private sector, to help consumers choose the best wireless and other plans. From that, I became very interested in the uses of government data generally. I wrote a book called Open Data Now, worked at the GovLab on a study called the Open Data 500, which was the first study of the business uses of open data. And then from there came down to Washington, D.C., where I now lead a new nonprofit organization called the Center for Open Data Enterprise. We work both internationally and work also with the U.S. federal government primarily on ways to help data providers in government and their data users work together to improve the quality and usefulness of their data. So I want to begin the first of these 4 videos just by talking a little bit about what open data is. In the readings, there's an excerpt from my book, Open Data Now, and also a blog post on open data and big data that includes a Venn diagram to help sort out exactly what this thing is and how it relates to other concepts, particularly of open government on the one hand and big data on the other. So the things that are important to realize is that open data in some ways is a subset of open government, but that there are many parts of open government, such as different forms of citizen engagement, that don't really involve data in the same way. And open data also overlaps with big data, particularly when you talk about many large government data sets like weather data and GPS data and so on. But open data does not have to be big to be open and to be useful. So what really characterizes open data is it's almost a philosophical more than a quantitative difference. What characterizes it is that it's data that is released for public use in ways that it can be reused and republished at will. So it needs to be both technically open and legally open. Technically open meaning that it is at a very minimum available online, preferably in a machine-readable format. And legally open meaning that there are no restrictions on how anybody can use it, analyze it, mash it up with other data, write about it, and republish it. Now, when you look at data that has these characteristics, it's useful in a large number of ways. The open data movement really began about 10 years ago, very much with a focus on transparency and accountability. The idea being that if governments made more data open about their processes, their operations, their spending, and so forth, that would be a check that would help hold them accountable to citizens. And that's continued to be a critically important part of open data. But in the last several years, we've also seen a focus on the value of open data as a resource, that it's something that can be used by businesses, by nonprofits, by governments themselves in a number of different ways that can be helpful for commercial benefit, for social value, in many, many different sectors, including healthcare, finance, and many others. So what this module is about really is about those kinds of uses of open data, what they mean from the vantage point of government management, and how people both inside and outside of government can best put that kind of data to use.